In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of my most worn fragrances ever. Like, period. I have worn these so much over the past few years, it might shock you. Or it might not shock you, depending on how long you've been around and how much of my videos you've actually consumed. Some of these might be, an obvious kind of answer, others not so much. So what I want to do first here is invite you to leave a comment down below telling me what you have worn the most just over the years, ever since you first started collecting or however you want to do it, designer, niche, whatever it is. What have you had on your skin the most? Let me know. Also, I'll link these down below to discounters. That's where I purchased pretty much all of these from, except for maybe a few new releases that I pick up at retail. But other than that, when I'm buying, I'm usually trying to save as much money as I can through discounters. So I always say to do the same thing. If you could save some money, even if it's $10, $15, $20 off of a bottle, it's well worth it. All right, let's get things kicked off here. And this is a scent that needs no introduction. It's played out. Everybody knows it. Everybody, even still, wears this one, or a lot of people do. And however, it's one that I still love the smell of. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon that says that this scent is horrendous and it's, a monstrosity. I'm not going to do that. I like how this smells, believe it or not. It is Dior Sage EDT. So got this one pretty early on, kind of just during the whole hype phase, right? And never looked back, never regretted that decision at all. In fact, I was so happy with that decision to buy this that not long after that, maybe a good year or two, I was starting to buy backups and I was trying to go for like first year launch bottles, and I've got a few of those. And as you could see here, maybe you caught that, maybe you didn't, we're at about right there on this one. I also have, again, several other bottles of the EDT, and it's kind of one of those deals where when I want to wear it, I grab whatever bottle is there. Sometimes it's this one, sometimes it's one of the others. So I've probably come pretty close, or probably have actually officially used an entire bottle. It's just, there's some in here and I've used some out of the others, and I've got some like small, I think they're 60 mLs as well. Yeah, it's these, what is this? 60, something like that. Goodness, I can't see, can't read it very well. Yeah, 60. Yeah, one of these. And this one's pretty low as well, as you can see there. So yeah, I guess I have used a full 100 mil, entirety. I love Sage EDT. It performs like an absolute beast. Even still, even new bottles, not just these older ones, new bottles still perform great. And yes, there are better options and other options to choose from these days. At this point, it's kind of become like a nostalgic thing for me. It's become something where it's familiar and I'm used to it and I know it very well and it just works well for me. And from time to time, I still love to wear Sage. Yeah, I said it. This next one is also one that is so easy to just pile on and hate, and oh, it's way too sweet, and it's whatever, right? Another guilty pleasure style scent here, Ultra Male. It's one that has been met with, mixed emotions. Kind of 50-50 almost on this one. People will love it and swear by it, like myself. People will also violently hate it. So it just depends on what you're after. And there's always going to be people in the middle as well who could go either way. Isn't the best thing that they smell, but isn't horrendous either. So, you're going to get a mixture of everything. But this one definitely is a bit more polarizing, where people are generally going to be in one direction or the other, versus something that's a little bit more just fresh and clean and musky. That's just kind of something that's almost always in the middle. This one's got pear. It has some cinnamon in here, vanilla. It's got lavender. It is super sweet, and that is the ticket right there. It's so sweet that it is shocking to people. And that's why I always put that point first and foremost, because no matter how much information you seem to give, sometimes it still isn't enough and people still blind by it and realize, oh yeah, maybe they were right. It is very sweet and I don't like sweet, so make sure you are aware of that going into this. It's not your typical masculine, fresh, woody, citrusy, musky, aquatic, type of scent. But if you're after something that is a head turner, it's simply just easygoing and playful and great for fall and winter time, go for this stuff. And my bottle is shot. It's like right down to here, so basically empty. I've got backups, no problem there, but I've worn the heck out of this stuff over the years. I simply just love it. And it's one that also has great performance, but you can also get away with, applying a heavy dose of it as well. So, you can tend to burn through it pretty quick. Versace Man Eau Fresh is up next. Yeah, this was one of the first scents that I ever bought. This and Nautica Voyage. And actually, Nautica Voyage also could have been in here, but I did not place it. Here it is. I also had another bottle that I can't seem to find, which was also very low. I have burned through a ton of this stuff. Don't know where the other one went, but I got this one. It's musky, it's bright, it has starfruit, citruses, watery notes. It's uplifting. It kind of has a tropical vacation type of smell and personality to it. This is the type of thing that's almost impossible to hate. It's impossible to think that it smells bad. Now, are there going to be people who think it's boring? Absolutely. And it's not the most unique and exciting thing in the world. But from the standpoint of just smelling pleasing to people, I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. You can wear this for anything, and that's part of the reason why I burned through so much. Azaroporum Intense, man, is this good stuff. It has brandy, cinnamon, along with some of the original Azaroporum DNA, a little bit aromatic fougere from the lavender, if I didn't say that. But then you're getting the sweet, warm spices alongside of that, and that boozy kick. The cinnamon in here is very, very realistic, very forward. You can get it off the dry down, having not sprayed this for probably months at this point. Yeah, because it's been summer, so haven't broken this one out yet. Haven't sprayed it in months. That cinnamon is still right there at the forefront. You can smell it easily. I mean, this is a powerhouse of a scent. Unfortunately, a bit hard to find, so on that regard, it sucks. I still wanted to place it because it's one of my most worn scents. If you want to, have a chance of getting rare, hard to find things like this, jump on my mailing list and texting list down below. It's free to sign up, and anytime something like this comes into stock, I send out a notification. You will be the first to know about all that stuff. And things like this usually do sell out quickly, so your best bet, if you want to be able to get it and not pay outrageous eBay prices, is to jump on down below and I'll notify you. Okay, next up is another obvious one. If you've been watching the channel, it's no surprise, so I'm not going to spend time on it. Aqua Deo Profumo. So many bottles of this stuff. 8 or 9 bottles, maybe close to 10. Close, not quite maybe, but I've got it, for a lifetime. One of my most worn scents, one of my favorite signature scents ever. It is a special scent for me, and I love it. Nowadays, you're probably going to buy Aqua Deo Parfum. They're basically the same and interchangeable. The Parfum might even be a bit better. So that's what you'll go for if you're buying it now. But for obvious reasons, I've worn this more than the new Aqua Deo Parfum, which just came out. Segueing into the next one here, it's a niche product. It's another one that has seen, seen better days, in the sense that now it's met with such like a divisive attitude because, it's been cloned to death and everybody wears it. It's been dubbed to be this magic potion of a men's scent that, completely destroys it in terms of getting compliments, and you're guaranteed to get compliments. There's a whole bunch of, baggage tied to this scent. And so I don't talk about it that much anymore, but it's Aventus by Creed. One of my most worn scents, period, designer, niche, whatever. Again, across multiple bottles. This is my 2017 bottle, 17N01. This one's about half full here. And again, I've got some 75 mLs, 2016 batches, a few other 2017s. I've got the new 100 mils. Just about every year I buy a new bottle to see what's going on with it. But that's kind of how it is. Even the new Aventus Absolute I ended up purchasing there. Great stuff as well. Again, it's just, for me, it's one of a kind. I don't talk about it anymore, but that doesn't mean that I don't wear it or don't like it anymore. In fact, I love it. It's one that I mostly just keep to myself. I just wear it when I enjoy it. It's one of my fiance's favorites, so oftentimes when we go out, I wear this. I don't, place it because people are tired of seeing it, and so that's kind of what it comes down to. But still, it plays a big part in my life. I've also worn a lot of Gentleman Eau de Parfum, believe it or not. It's a super wearable iris scent because you're getting a lot of vanilla and some black pepper alongside of it with a little bit of patchouli, nothing crazy, you know, but it is more wearable than Dior Homme Intense. Honestly, it's probably a bit more wearable than Valentino Uomo Intense, although I don't have, you know, issues with wearing those. I can wear them anytime I want, and you know, I don't feel uncomfortable or feel as though it's too much, right? But some people may feel that way, or it just may be too adventurous for them, period. This one is simply more designerish, even though they're all designers. So this one is the most tame. You know, if you're putting them on a scale, Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum is over here. Valentino is in the middle. This is kind of on this end where it's super moderate. And again, a lot of that's because of the heavy focus on vanilla. It really kind of softens up the scent and just it gives it more cushion and padding around the iris note, which could be a little bit polarizing for some. And just because of the sheer versatility, I mean, you can wear this for any situation that you can think of when it's cold outside, and so I've worn a ton of it. Another niche one here, this guy is, you know, as low as $70 on discounters for 120 ml. Manera EDP, of course the EDP because it's, you know, the first one that came out. And now, years later, we get an Intense, which is absolutely incredible. But this is where it all started. Fun fact, my first ever niche purchase was this one. You know, bought it before Aventus because at the time I couldn't afford Aventus or any other Creed or really any other niche scent. I mean, Manera is one of the best entry-level niche brands, not only in terms of a lot of their scents being pretty wearable, which some are polarizing, but a lot of them could be easy to pull off, but also most notably their price points. So many of them you could get for well under $100 for this full-size, full presentation bottles. And this was back when the caps screwed off. And you got to be careful because this also screws off. Unscrews, I should say. This screws off. Yeah, that's how it is. So it makes it easy to decant them. However, these can also be refilled. I don't think you really have to run that risk anymore with the new magnetic caps. I think you would have to pry those off. They're probably more like your standard bottles. But yeah, these old ones, you could put a washcloth around there and a pair of pliers to keep from marring it up, and you'll get that right off. Can't quite get this one off by hand. But yeah, I mean, it's something to watch out for these old bottles. But I do like the fact that they twist on and off. It's kind of a cool touch, although you can cross-thread them easily, and that was a whole big issue. So the new bottles are probably the better way to go. Also, the new bottles got a big upgrade with the atomizer. They're a pressurized atomizer, where these are the standard style, which do the job, but they're nowhere near as exciting. Goodness, does that smell good. Fruity, sweet, and woody. Gets compared a lot to Creed Aventus, but they are worlds apart at the end of the day. And as you can tell by that bottle, I've worn a ton of it and still continue to do so, although I will say now my focus has really been on the new Intense. I think the Intense is just better in every way, and that's saying something because I love that stuff. So if you're only going to buy one, I would say go straight for the Intense and call it a day. Now, let's check out another discontinued one. Unfortunately, it's Armani Code Absolute. Again, kind of a special occasion here for this video. I try not to feature things that you can't purchase, but when it comes down to what I've worn the most, I can't change that, and so that's what it is. I've worn a ton of this. Another one that I've got backed up at this point, vanilla, tonka bean, suede, some orange. It's an absolute work of art. It's a true beauty of a scent. It is a shame that they got rid of this and Code Profumo. It is astonishing. This one actually popped up not too long ago. It's been discontinued. It's sold out for months and months at this point. The 3.7 ounce bottles like this one popped up on discounters. I sent you guys a text and an email, you know, the ones that are on the list, and sold out pretty quick. You guys were able to get yours though. So if you want to be able to get stuff like this, sign up down below. I'm telling you guys, you're missing out if you're not on there. And it is one that is worth hunting down and checking out, really. I mean, a lot of you guys who've been around probably have it or have at least experienced it, and you know whether you like it or not. But if you're new to collecting, you shouldn't go out and pay eBay crazy prices, okay, $200 and all that stuff. Don't do that. But again, it does pop up from time to time if you're diligent, and so when it does, it's a good buy in the sense that if you end up not liking it for whatever reason, you can resell it for what you paid, what you have into it, and so it's kind of safe in that regard. And we're going to end the video off with Invictus Aqua. Now, I've worn a ton of Invictus Aqua 2016. That's kind of my bread and butter. I wore that one to death. The 2018 came out, and I wore that one too, you know, because I was nervous to wear through all of my 2016 because at the time, unfortunately, money was tight and I didn't have a ton of money to be spending on backups of the 2016. Later, you know, in my later years, I kind of went through and overpaid and bought a bunch of 2016 bottles, but at the time when it was going down, I couldn't do that. And so I had to kind of jump over to this and cherish what I had left of my 2016s. The 2016 bottles are better in every single way. They just are, you know, and that's just how it is. Neither of these are available anymore, 2018, 2016. They're both discontinued. So I'm not saying that one's better to push people to buy that when you can't buy either of them. Okay, it's just the honest truth. I've said that since the beginning. 2016 is better in every way. However, the 2018 was and is, if you have it, still a good release. Nowadays, you can go for Rasasi Howis, which was actually out first anyway, but just didn't get the same amount of hype coming from it. Wasn't Paco Rabanne, right? And so, you know, clone brand versus mega designer brand, you know which one's going to win. Regardless, it's one that I've worn a ton and has a special place in my heart. This DNA is great. That's it. That's going to do it for me. Some of my most worn designer and niche scents. Love these. Very, very good, solid releases. You probably have them already, or at least most of them, but if you don't, they're worth checking out. I'll link them down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.